As you listen to this episode of Rock School Proprietor Podcast, I want you to ask yourself, what's on your nope list? Not your to-do list, but your nope list. The tasks that you don't do in your lesson studio. We're talking all about delegating responsibilities this week. And that might mean training others, contracting tasks out, all so you can use your time to be your most effective. It's not always easy, but it might mean just assessing what your time is worth. It might also mean letting go of some of your fears or maybe your need for control. Mandy and I discuss this and more on this episode of Rock School Proprietor Podcast. Welcome to Rock School Proprietor Podcast. My name's John Kazicki.
And I'm Mandy York.
We're going to talk about delegating today, Mandy.
Yes.
How long did it take you to learn how to delegate tasks in your studio?
A long time, and I'm still learning.
And me too.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
I would guess I think that's a constant I'm working on, in that category. This is something that I'm always working to improve, which totally makes sense when you consider the evolution of your studio and the evolution of your business and the evolution of your skill sets. So I think it's constantly something to be thinking about what things we delegate and why we delegate. Yep. So in the early days of my music school, I used to do everything. Mm-hmm. Can you relate?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was just me. That's it. You're starting from scratch.
Again, I would guess a lot of business owners, a lot of studio owners are in the same boat where, and I think there's multiple reasons for this. I can say for myself, I didn't have the budget to delegate.
Right.
I didn't really know how to delegate to someone or to, how to explain the tasks that I needed done, or even to figure out who's going to be able to do these tasks. And there was, just a touch of me being a control freak, I think.
Mm-hmm. I can relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Why would you say there were tasks that you didn't delegate?
Yeah. Well, I think, like you said, almost all business owners can relate to this. You're starting from scratch. You're creating something, right? And it's all you. So you're wanting to control this, right? This is your baby. You're creating something. You want to kind of get it right the first time. Begin as you intend to go forward. So
sure,
you're learning on the job how to do how to wear all the different hats, right? I remember that time feeling like I was exploring different options. There's a lot of decision making during that time, setting up procedures, right? And I wanted from anything from the softwares that you're going to use, the designs you're going to make, purchasing equipment, things like that. And you do want control of it. You want to set up those things on your own. That's how I felt.
I think you said learning on the job, which is that sort of struck a chord with me. There were a lot of things that I remember just feeling like, okay, if I'm going to do this, then I need to learn how to do this other thing, right? So I just, nose down and decided, all right, I'm going to learn how to do this because I've got to learn how to do it. And part of what that does is it sort of builds your confidence in your abilities, right? Because then if you learn that brand new task, maybe completely unrelated to your skill set, you're like, oh, cool, I did it. I learned how to do this thing. So then the next thing comes along and you realize oh, I need to do this. I have no idea how to do it. But you know what? That last thing I learned how to do, I bet I can learn how to do this. So at least for me, I feel like there was that switch in mentality, oh, I can learn how to do this. Mm-hmm. And again, it's sort of this confidence boost where you start to feel oh, I can learn how to do this. I can learn how to do this. You're not as intimidated by new things, but the more new things that you learn how to do, right? It's
Yes.
not like you're becoming an expert in those new things. It's just like, okay, I've learned the basics. I've learned how to do it. Maybe don't spend enough time to become super efficient at it. Maybe don't spend enough time to really hone your skills and be great at it. It's just like, oh yeah, I know how to do this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
a
I
little bit,
found that process enjoyable, like
yeah,
some of the processes, like I said, there's lots of different hats, but I found that process enjoyable of like, okay, here's something I need to learn how to do, researching the best ways to do it, being
yeah,
creative in how to do it. That is enjoyable. But like you said, how well are you doing each of those tasks when there's so many in front of you? And then
yeah,
your business starts to grow.
right.
That's the big,
And
right?
right. And then there's so many more things
They become
that,
bigger.
that you can learn how to do, which then I think, then it begs the question, or maybe the switch in mindset there then becomes questioning yourself about things like, what is your time worth? Right. So I think there are questions worth asking. What is your time worth? What is the best use of your time? So that's like, what are you really good at? What is your superpower? Instead of like, yeah, I can learn how to do this thing. What are the things that maybe it's a new skill, but what is this new skill or an old skill that you actually are really good at, right? That you are super efficient at, that you can get done quickly. And then maybe like, what do you want to spend your time on?
Mhm.
Because it's
Yeah,
it's a
that's the
choice
nice
in a
thing about
sense.
being, yeah, you're the owner. You get to decide. If you like doing this thing, then you get to do that and you can delegate the other things.
Do you ever find yourself asking? I definitely find myself asking, like, should I be spending my time on this? I ask
Oh,
myself, but then the next question is usually, if the answer is no, then the question is, okay, well then who should who should be spending their time on this? There's actually, I know we did a book or episode on book recommendations. I don't remember the author, but I read this book a couple of years ago, Who Not How, where the idea is you question, like, who can I get to do this task or this job, not how can I do this job or how can I learn
yeah.
how to do this task. So that's a good
Yeah.
one.
Smart.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you ask yourself?
Yeah, usually like when I'm like deep in the weeds of something, I'm like, should I be doing this right now?
Or how do I get out of
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, back retrace your
Yeah.
steps.
Yeah.
You need to, yeah. I could be doing something else right now. Totally. Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, but I do fall into that trap. Like, okay, if I decide maybe I shouldn't be spending my time on this, then who do I get to do this? How do I explain this to them? Right?
That's the
Because
big
if
one,
it's,
right?
yeah,
Mhm.
because then you're in this situation where like, okay, well, maybe this is a good job for my admin, or maybe this is a good job for one of my student assistants. Am I going to have to teach them how to do that? How do I teach them how to do that? It, yeah, it gets tricky.
Yes, and that is like a mindset change that I've been able to make in the last few years where it was like, this is just gonna be easier if I do it. It'll be faster if I get it done.
That's
But
the trap
right?
too.
That's the
Mhm.
trap. But realizing, asking yourself, "Should I be doing this? No, I should be doing something else with my time." And realizing that there is value in investing in training someone else to do it. It might feel, very tedious
Yes.
to bring someone on board to take over this task, but then it's done. Then you don't have to go back to it.
Investing is the
Investing
best
time.
word.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the best word that you used. You're investing your time to teach someone else to do it so that they can do it long term.
going forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So I've got a list of, well, I just put a list of three things for myself that I now outsource or delegate, do you do you have any like specific things that you're just like, no way, that's not? I've heard of the nope list or the not list, the
Oh,
not to not do list,
okay.
right? The where you create a list of things that you don't do. Have you heard of that one?
No, I haven't. I get it
Yeah, it's
though.
instead of your
Yeah.
to-do list, it's like these are the things that I don't do. These are the things that I make sure someone else is doing.
Yeah.
Do you have like, I don't really keep well, I mean, I guess I keep it casually. It's not a physical thing, but
Sure.
in my head, do you have a
Right.
list of things, or are there tasks that you're just like, nope, not doing that anymore?
Yeah, like the like basic level things that I like to delegate, I
Hmm.
guess. One of them is communication. We have so many families in our studio, and because this is a thing that I don't particularly love and enjoy, is answering all the questions and all the
Yeah.
emails. They come in every day, right? And if you have a good admin or someone on your team, right, that understands the business, understands the school, understands your policies and procedures, they can take the time to answer all those questions. They're usually really easy and basic. And I've invested in making sure I have someone that can answer those basic questions, easy questions, right? And that like the email communication goes straight to that person too. Like it
Okay.
doesn't even come through my inbox. That's one that I
Nice.
really like. And then things like marketing and social media. I have
Okay.
someone that takes care of that. And they're able to do those tasks because of the time that I put in the beginning, right? On my own,
Hmm.
and it's ongoing too. Like I make sure that there are great photos of the studio that my social media person can use.
Yeah.
Right. We talked about that in another episode, that colors, logos, just kind of our general aesthetic is there. Canva
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
great software. I use Canva. Folders. All the folders are set up. Here's, images for this class, for that class. Here's parent education pieces. It's all there for this person.
Right.
And so I can know they've been trained and they have the resources that they need to
Hmm.
execute like my vision for what I want social media to
So you
be.
kind of have like a style guide, right? You
Exactly.
mentioned like your colors, and these are the images, and yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Registration stuff. I mean, that's something for me because I'm semester based. We're every 10 weeks turning around, right? And opening registration on our website.
Yeah.
That's something that happens 4 times a year. It's a repetitive task. It's
Hmm.
almost always the same. That's easy to hand off to someone, right?
Yeah. Repetitive task.
Repetitive tasks.
Again, you nailed it. You hit like one of
Mhm.
those words where I think that's like that should be a little hint for any of us. If it's a repeatable task, if it's a repetitive task, if it's something that is pretty much going to be the same every time, or there's there's a specific schedule for it and it's the same every time on that schedule. Well, yeah, you get into a routine, you get into a flow. That means it's really easy to create some sort of system for it.
Mhm.
And once you have that system, well, then you can train someone to run that system. Or maybe even you don't train anyone. Maybe that's something that you can automate.
Yeah, that's another great thing too. That's something we need to talk about is like automations and even like, third party, options for
Well,
taking
yeah,
on
it
some of
did
these
make me
things.
think about that also when you were talking about the communication and the
Mhm.
questions that you get, and how frequently you said those questions are generally all the same. There's a group of questions, right? So is that something that you create an FAQ for, or is that something that if you're slick enough and you have an email marketing program that can can answer those questions in a way that is sufficient for the emailer or the reader,
Mhm.
that potentially could be automated as well.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Anything else?
I
Anything else that
mean,
you're just like, nope, that's on my nope list?
basic cleaning. I mean,
Ah,
for me,
mm-hmm.
like young families, like cleanliness is super important at our studio. We've got
Oh my
babies and
God.
toddlers, right?
They put
It's
their everything in their mouths.
yes, yeah. So and for me, like it's really important to create that really clean, lovely atmosphere that we have. We do a good job with that. And I don't need to be doing that between all the classes and every day. I I like to kind of control the general aesthetic of the studio, decor and colors and things like that. But for the most part, I delegate or share most of those cleaning
Yeah.
responsibilities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I can't imagine. Yeah. With your music together classes and the babies and the shakers and the sticks and the baby mouths. It's like after every class, right?
Yes. Yeah. Every instrument is cleaned between classes. So we have
Yeah.
multiple sets. It's not as though between
Right.
every class I'm cleaning, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we'll have, at the end of the morning, 3 or 4 baskets of dirty
I
instruments.
I got to tell you,
Fun.
on occasion, I have been in your building and walked by your studio, and you have those really large windows,
Yeah.
and I've sort of peeked in, and you weren't there, but there's just like I could tell you were just cleaning all of the shakers and sticks because they're all spread out on the floor drying.
Yes. All across the rubber mats. Yep.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
get fogged and air dry and all that. Yeah. You
cool.
got to do it. It's important.
Yeah.
But it's important. So that's key, right? This is really important for the business, but not important for me to do personally.
Oh my gosh, but yeah, like, and it has to be done the right way. And
Yeah.
because I mean, in this example, right? Like, let's say you got like a baby comes in who has like, I don't know, the flu
Yeah.
and you don't know it and they put that shaker in their mouth. And then like, next thing you know, you've got like parents calling like, oh, I can't be there. Baby's got the flu. Oh, I can't be there. Baby's got the
Yes.
flu. Oh, we got the flu. Sorry, we can't go. No, we got the flu. That can go on and on
Yeah. Yep.
if you're not on top of that stuff.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
a
It's something we
hospital.
take pride in. It's important.
Yeah. All right. Any others that you are just like, nope, not in my studio. I don't do this.
Uh, that's 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 like my basic nope list, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I've got 3 and I'll start with a story because
Mm.
this topic was really kind of inspired with something that I was doing yesterday. And I was like in the middle of it. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, right? I am, I'm in the middle of finishing a method book and I'm kind of in the home stretch here. And so, by the way, that will be available for our listeners soon.
Exciting.
So I'm in the home stretch, and my goal this week was to complete everything so that I could send it to print. So I'm doing, like proofreading over and over again and just like little things here and there. Oh, I missed a period. So all these tiny little things. That's not the part that I don't think I should be doing. I mean, like, yeah, I could be, and I have given it to other people to check also, but that's one of those things like, all right, well, we'll just make sure this is good because it's going to print. But the last step is to finalize the cover design. And I've kind of drawn up some ideas like, oh, I think it should be this. I think it should be this. I did like one quick version on Canva and I was like, oh, that's garbage. I don't want to use it. And so yesterday morning, early morning, like 6 a.m., I'm just drinking coffee. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just rough out this design in my design software. And I was fully thinking that, all right, I'm gonna rough this out and I'm gonna give it to a designer to complete. But 4 hours later, 4 hours later, I'm like, oh, I like this. I'll just do this little thing here. I'll just do this little thing here. And then I'm almost done with it, you know?
Yeah.
And so graphic design,
Mm.
that's one of the things. And, I'm kicking myself for getting into this yesterday, but graphic design is one of those things that years ago I was like, it's a trap for me because it's kind of fun. It's
Yeah.
creative,
Yeah.
but I'm not efficient at it, and I'm also not really skilled at it to the point where I know all the little tricks, the little tricks to do to make things pop. I don't know what they are, right? But I give it to a designer and I'm like, oh yeah, that's so much better. It's like what I was thinking, but way better. And wow, you got this done really quick. So graphic design is one of those things for me that should be on my nope list. It should be on the delegate list to contract out or whatever. The other one that's really high on the list is website. I'm sure you're in this boat too, where early days you built your own website,
Yeah.
and a lot of these services make building websites easier, and they get easier and easier to build. But very similar to graphic design, I feel I don't know all the tricks. And then when there's things that I want to happen, oh, well, I want my web form to have these little options, so that way when that information is filled out by a client, they get put in my marketing email software, and they get tagged with these little tags so that I can then segment the marketing messages and the emails to just these people, but not these other people. All those little things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to do that. I mean, yeah, I could spend hours learning how to do it, or I could call my website guy, Nick, and say, hey, Nick needs to do this, and he'll get it done, in a half hour.
Mm.
Websites. Yeah, that's one that I've to me, it's well worth paying the money to get the website to work the way you want, to get the website to look the way you want. So yeah, I don't do my own website anymore.
Yeah, you have a really great website too. I love your website. This is funny though, because it's one thing that I keep on my plate is my website. And I'm not going to say that it's the best website out there, but it's totally functional and it's cute.
I agree.
But I geek out on this stuff. I love that, when someone fills out a form on my website, I know how to make it connect to, MailChimp and send an email to my admin and put them on this.
Yeah.
I geek out on that stuff. So
yeah,
I like to have it set up and know exactly what it's doing and make it do all kinds of fun things for me.
Cool. Good for you.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, that's an example. Do what you want to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And for me, that's just it's one of those things where okay, yeah, I could learn how to do this, but I also know I've spent hours trying to figure out how to do it. And then oh, I still don't know how to do it right. So that's why ultimately I'm you know what? I'm not going to do the website anymore. So
the takeaway is know yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Right? I think so. Would you ever farm that out?
I don't know. I have not considered doing that.
Okay.
And I might have a little more if you say that you have a touch of control freak, I might have a handful of control freak. I don't know. I have a little more than you, John. So it's one of those things I just like to control, and
I think I just hide it better.
Yeah. That could be.
Let's see. So yeah, website. I outsourced that.
Yep.
But I do have a good website guy now, so I do feel really good that I trust him enough. I trust him, and okay, Nick, figure this out. Scheduling. That's the other one where it's funny. I had a scheduling task that came up it was a few weeks ago where it was one of those situations where I was at the studio, parent was talking to me directly, and it was about scheduling. And I was like, I'll just take care of this really quick, because I'm thinking customer service, right? I didn't want to, like, my admin wasn't there. I didn't want to take a note, send it to my admin, have her get back with the parent. I figured, like, I'll just get this done really quick. And I went to do it, something that, I've done hundreds of times, but for like, I don't know, 30 seconds, I was like, I don't remember how to do this.
Mhm.
So because I haven't done it in so long, I'm less efficient at it now. So it goes back to, like, is this the best use of my time? I'm not as good at it. I'm not as good at that task now as my admin is. So yeah, scheduling, that's one that, again, just like you, I've got a great admin, and those are my top three: website, graphic design, and
And
scheduling, that
scheduling.
I just shouldn't be doing anymore.
Yeah. Yep. Good ones. I like it.
All right.
So
Delegating's hard.
it is. It
Yeah.
is for a few different reasons, right? Like it feels faster to do it yourself sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to swallow that idea that you need to put in a time investment to
Hmm.
to be able to properly delegate. Sometimes I don't know who to delegate to, kind of too. Like, who is this
Yeah.
appropriate for, right?
Hmm.
I do that sometimes, but why delegate, right?
Yeah.
Like, why? Why should we
Hmm.
delegate? I mean, it's kind of obvious because if you want to use your time to generate leads and income,
Hmm.
right? Isn't that the bottom line?
Yeah. I also think there's an element of fear built in.
Ah,
Fear of, like, if it's a new task, fear of not
mhm.
knowing how to do it, right? Fear of not maybe knowing the right questions to ask someone who might know how to do this. Fear of, if I give this task to someone, are they going to do it correctly?
Yeah.
Right. So all those little fears are built into it. I definitely, like, I was thinking about services like Fiverr for outsourcing some tasks. And I know a lot of people who swear by it, and they've had great experiences. I've had kind of a mixed bag. I've had some good experiences, but I've also had some really horrible experiences with Fiverr. And so I tend to kind of shy away from that, right? And I think that's my my fear of, okay, is it going to be worth the investment in trying to talk to this person on Fiverr to get them to understand what my vision is for this project? Or, since it's like a one-off task or something, is it better just kind of do it myself? Or I don't know. Yeah, so that fear kind of kicks in a little bit.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, we both have really great admins. We're lucky in that way. And I think,
Mhm.
you have to consider that for your circumstances rather than, delegating out to a third party. You know, my admin understands me, who we are, our policies, what we do.
Mm.
As we've said before, everything comes down to you. It's all you. You're the business owner. No one's going to care quite as much as you do.
Yeah.
But if you're able to build a good team, that's super valuable. We talked about in the beginning building and figuring out how to do all of these things on our own, but I really felt like an island at that point, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's just you.
Yep.
It's I love having someone to talk with and collaborate with, right? I mean, I I appreciate my admin so much where I can say, "I wanna try this, but I'm not like, should we do it this way or that way?" And she has great ideas. You know what I mean? It's not all
Yeah.
you. It's not all in your head. I get great great ideas from my admin. We work together to problem solve. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I like working with people.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and there is, I think there is a synergy that you don't know
Totally.
exists until you're able to kind of work with someone else and bounce ideas off of them. And that's part of being able to work through these things. So my two big takeaways that I think I'm going to do, I'm going to revisit the Who Not How book, I think it's
Sounds cool.
due for a refresh on that. I wish I could remember off the top of my head the author. And then I'm going to start thinking more about my nope list.
Yeah, I have not thought of it that way. I like that too.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap this one up then. So, Mandy, thanks for your thoughts on delegating, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds great. Thanks, John.
A couple of times on this episode, I mentioned the book Who Not How by Dan Sullivan. It's a great read. I think I might actually reread myself. If you have topic suggestions or questions, please send those questions to us. We might even talk about them on the podcast. info@rockschoolproprietor.com is where you can send those. We've put together some free resources over at the website too for teachers and studio owners. rockschoolproprietor.com is where you can find those. There's a private Facebook group, performance-based music programs, and rock schools. Please join us over there. Social media at rock.school.proprietor on Instagram is where you can find me. I'm also on LinkedIn and Blue Sky as John Kazicki. Your ratings and reviews on Apple Podcast and Spotify are always appreciated, so please help us out there. If you enjoyed the show and gained insight from our conversation, then we count that as a win. All we ask in return is that you pay it forward. Please share the show with someone you think needs to hear it.